Hey everybody, it's Michael from Nagios, and today I'll be going over how you can monitor your OpenShift cluster using the OpenShift Configuration Wizard in Nagios XI. Now, if you're running containers in production, visibility is key. And with the OpenShift Configuration Wizard, you can get key metrics into your cluster, such as CPU usage, memory utilization, node status and readiness, as well as cluster operators, all allowing you to help reduce downtime, as well as ensure that your containers are up and running smoothly. Now, let's take a look into the Nagios XI homepage to see how to get started. Now, this tutorial can be done using both themes in Nagios XI. You can follow along here if you'd like to see it in Neptune, or skip to the timestamp if you'd like to see it done in Modern. Now, from the Neptune homepage, you can go to the Configure icon on the left and select Configuration Wizards. From here, you can scroll through or search for the Red Hat OpenShift Wizard and click on it. And when on the wizard, you can see the documentation linked here at the top, as well as have the ability to use a configuration template for this wizard if you have any. But the first option will be for the address of your OpenShift cluster. This will populate your host name, but you can go ahead and configure this to anything because this is what will appear in Nagios XI as your host. You can change the port number, but the default will be 6443. And then you can decide if you want to verify the SSL certificate. Next is the OpenShift authentication methods. Now you're going to need a service account with a bearer token on your OpenShift cluster. And if you don't already have one, you can go ahead and follow the method in our documentation to get your bearer token. And when you have it, there's 3 different ways you can be authenticated. Through a kubeconfig file, where you'll outline the path, inputting the token directly, or having the token in a file and putting the path of that file here. And when you've inputted your authentication method, you can go ahead and hit Next. And when on the next page, you'll go ahead and see your finalized address, hostname, and port numbers, as well as all the metrics you're able to start monitoring for your OpenShift cluster. You can see we have node status and readiness, the cluster operator status, CPU utilization, as well as memory utilization. All of which you can go ahead and set the thresholds for warning and critical. And when configured to your liking, you can hit Next. Here you'll see the monitoring settings for how often the host should be checked, and what happens if a problem is detected, and if it should be rechecked. On the next page, you'll see notification settings on who and when notifications should be sent out. And then finally, if you want to attach any host groups, service groups, or a parent host to this host. And then when done, you can save as a template or finish and apply, where you then can see the status details for your cluster. Now, to see it in Modern, we'll go ahead and change our theme by going to Account Settings and selecting one of our Modern themes. I'll choose Modern Dark. And then to get to the configuration wizards, we can go to the Configure tab on the top and then select Configuration Wizards, where we can then scroll through or search for the Red Hat OpenShift Wizard, and when found, we can select it. And when on the wizard page, you'll see the documentation linked here at the top, followed by the ability to use a configuration template if you have any. But the first option will be for the address of your OpenShift cluster. This will be brought down to your hostname, but you can go ahead and configure this to anything because this is the hostname on Nagios XI that represents your cluster. You then can set the port number, with the default being 6443, and then decide if you want to verify the SSL certificate or not. Next is the OpenShift authentication method. Now there are several ways to do this. The first is by having a kube config file on your XI server and defining the path. The next is putting a service account bearer token directly in this text box. And then finally having that bearer token on a file and then defining the path here. And once you've chosen your method, if you successfully connect, you'll be brought to the next screen after hitting next. And on this next page, you'll be able to see the address, hostname, and port number for your OpenShift cluster, as well as all the metrics that you're able to start monitoring, starting with node status and readiness, cluster operator status, CPU utilization, and memory utilization, where you can select which ones to include, as well as manually configure the warning and critical thresholds. And when done, you can hit Next, where you can configure how often the host and service will be monitored, and what happens when a problem is detected. The next is Notification Settings, where you'll determine who and when notifications get sent out. And then finally, you can determine the host group or service group, as well as a parent host if desired. Finally, you can save these settings as a template or finish and apply. And when done, you can view the status details of your cluster. And that's it. You've now seen how to start monitoring your OpenShift cluster using the OpenShift Configuration Wizard. You now should be getting metrics like CPU usage, memory utilization, node status and readiness, and cluster operators, all from your Nagios XI instance, allowing you to be notified when anything goes wrong and act quickly. Now, if you need any more documentation or information, please visit support.nagios.com or check out our YouTube channel for any more helpful content. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep on monitoring.